History is often described as a record of humanity's past, but in reality, it is a carefully edited story. We are taught about Rome, Persia, and Britain, empires that survived long enough to write their own legacy. But history has a bias. It remembers the victors and forgets those who fell silently. Beneath the pages of textbooks lie empires that once ruled vast lands, controlled global trade, commanded powerful armies, and shaped civilizations. Yet today, their names barely survive. These empires did not simply lose battles. They lost memory itself. Their cities were buried, their languages faded, and their achievements were claimed by others. This is the story of those forgotten giants, empires that once stood at the center of the world, only to vanish from history's spotlight. Every forgotten empire began the same way, with ambition, innovation, and unity. These civilizations rose in regions others considered impossible. Deserts, highlands, dense forests, and remote coastlines. They mastered agriculture where land seemed barren, built trade routes across oceans and mountains, and created systems of governance far ahead of their time. Their power did not come only from conquest, but from organization. Laws were written, currencies were minted, and cities were planned with precision. At their height, these empires connected continents, moved ideas across borders, and became hubs of culture, science, and religion. To the people living under their rule, these empires did not seem temporary, they felt eternal. What truly made these empires powerful was their control of trade. Long before modern globalization, they dominated ancient supply chains. Gold, spices, silk, salt, ivory, and knowledge flowed through their territories. Their ports welcomed merchants from distant lands. Their roads became the arteries of the ancient world. Entire regions depended on them economically. Even rival civilizations acknowledged their importance, borrowing technologies, writing systems, and military tactics. Languages absorbed their words. Religions spread through their routes. Without realizing it, much of the ancient world revolved around these forgotten empires. Yet later generations would credit their influence to others. As these empires grew, they inspired both admiration and fear. Their armies were disciplined, their fortifications nearly unbreakable, and their leaders often seen as chosen by destiny or the gods. Neighboring states paid tribute rather than risk destruction. Some empires ruled not through constant war, but through diplomacy and psychological dominance. Their banners alone could end conflicts. At their peak, it seemed unthinkable that such powers could ever fall. But history shows a cruel pattern. The higher an empire rises, the more fragile it becomes. The fall rarely came suddenly. It began quietly. Internal divisions weakened unity. Corruption eroded trust. Overexpansion stretched resources thin. Climate shifts, droughts, or plagues disrupted food supplies. Trade routes changed, bypassing once great cities. Rebellions erupted at the edges, ignored by overconfident rulers at the center. Enemies who once feared the empire began testing its borders. What had seemed unshakable started to crack. And while historians often focus on dramatic invasions, the true collapse usually happened from within. When these empires finally collapsed, they faced a fate worse than defeat. They were erased. Conquerors destroyed records, burned libraries, and replaced identities. New rulers built their cities over old foundations, using the stones but forgetting the names. Languages disappeared as generations adopted new tongues. Without continuous written history, these empires faded into legend. Unlike Rome or China, no one remained to preserve their story. Over time, even their existence was questioned. They did not just lose power, they lost remembrance. Centuries later, archaeologists and historians began uncovering fragments of these lost worlds. Ruins beneath sand, inscriptions carved in stone, artifacts buried in forgotten cities. Each discovery challenged what we thought we knew about history. These empires were not minor kingdoms, they were global forces. Their engineering rivaled modern standards. Their social systems were complex and efficient. Slowly, a hidden narrative emerged. Today's world was built not only by the famous empires we remember, but also by those we forgot. The story of forgotten empires is not just about the past. It is a warning for the present. Power is temporary. Dominance does not guarantee memory. Civilizations rise believing they will last forever, yet history shows otherwise. By remembering these lost empires, we gain humility and perspective. Progress is fragile. Influence can vanish. And greatness, no matter how vast, can be swallowed by time. History remembers the victors, but the forgotten empires remind us of a deeper truth. No empire is eternal.